Note that Matt Falker called today and he's excused.
Looks like we have 27 present and 3 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Pledge of Allegiance, please rise. Mr. Smith, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a moment to reflect on the budget tonight. Thank you. Please be seated. We're in compliance with open meetings law.
We are, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second by Mr. Jaco. I will ask one, Yvonne, we may be delaying Yvonne. She forgot her glasses and she had to run back to her office before. So we may have to squeeze her in here. So just keep that in mind. Okay. All in favor of the agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Communications.
There is a notice of public hearing, planning and zoning, which is November 16th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And then you should also find the treasurer's monthly report.
Then the other items here is the sheriff has received a letter notifying of the resignation of Supervisor Jeff Johns since he moved out of his district and is moved to Lake Mills. So, and the other communication I just received when I sat down here tonight, and it's a resolution of commendation by the Wisconsin Treasurers Association. Whereas the Jefferson County Treasurers Association, a group organized for the purpose of educating county treasurers throughout the state of Wisconsin, also for the purpose of keeping county treasurers informed of current events that impact their offices and their counties and their communities. And whereas the Wisconsin County Treasurers Association has a tradition of recognizing and commending those members who have served the association faithfully and well, and whereas John Jensen, the duly elected county treasurer in and for the County of Jefferson, Wisconsin, has since 1986 represented his constituents, his county, and the state of Wisconsin with a high degree of professionalism and dignity. Whereas John Jensen has been a contributing member and has served on the nominating committee and resolutions committee of Wisconsin County Treasurers Association with diligence and a high degree of excellence. And whereas John Jensen has during his career as Jefferson County Treasurer exemplified the ideas of public service, and by so doing has brought honor to the association and to Jefferson County. Now therefore be it resolved that Jefferson County Treasurers Association, that in recognition of his exemplary public service, this resolution commendation be issued to John Jensen, Jefferson County Treasurer. Be it further resolved by the Wisconsin County Treasurers Association that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the chairman of the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors, passed and issued 27th day of October 2023 by his friends and colleagues in the Wisconsin County Treasurers Association, Kerry Eastlick, President. Thank you. Takes us to annual reports. Fair Park, Amy. Oh, excuse me. I skipped over public comment. Is there any public comment related to anything on the agenda? Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to annual reports. Fair Park, Amy.
Hello, I'm Amy Listel, the director at the Jefferson County Fair Park. Tonight I am presenting the Fair Park's annual report for 2023. On the cover of this year's report, we've included a variety of photos that were taken at the 2023 Jefferson County Fair. We hired 2 professional photographers this year to take photos and videos of the fair and the Fair Park events throughout the year so that we have more materials to use in our marketing for our facilities and our events. In the top row, the first picture is of a cake that won Best of Show and used the fair's theme, Year of the Arts, as inspiration. The next picture is one of our 2 vendors that captured an amazing view of a rainbow over their stands at the fair. Next is 2 of our County Fair Hall of Fame recipients. We now have 10 people inducted into the County Fair Hall of Fame and look forward to recognizing those that have made a lasting impact on the fair in the future. The last photo in the top row are of 2 youth enjoying a carnival ride. The large picture on the bottom is one of the plein air painters that was at the fair this year. We partnered with the Arts Alliance of Greater Jefferson this year to bring plein air artists to the fair. It was a huge success as it brought a new group of fairgoers and entertainment to the fair, as well as hosted a successful auction to fundraise for future programs supporting the arts, the fair, and the community. The next black and white photo is of 2 horses galloping in the horse arena. We then have a photo of our 2023 Jefferson County Fairess of the Fair, Danielle Koala, who you all met earlier this year. She is holding one of the plein air paintings that were auctioned off during the Jefferson County Fair Auction and Youth Celebration. Danielle has done a fantastic job representing Jefferson County Fair this year and will be competing for the title of Wisconsin Fairess of the Fairs in January at the annual Wisconsin Association of Fairs Convention. And finally, a drone photo of our beautiful 90-acre facility. As you can see, the Jefferson County Fair Park lives out its mission of providing a county-owned facility for all citizens where young and old can gather and display their talents, accomplishments, and celebrate their cultures, thereby promoting education, entertainment, and economic growth in Jefferson County. The Fair Park continues to be home to over 200 events a year, including the County Fair, the Dairy Breakfast, Car Show, Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival, Gamilakite Days, and for interdepartmental use by a number of county departments. Many organizations fundraise and support the community at the Fair Park, including the Jefferson County Agribusiness Club, Kiwanis Club, Rotary Club, Fort Atkinson Lions Club, Ruby's Pantry, Christmas Neighbors, and more. We continue to have a marketing partner and sponsorship program where a number of businesses show their support to the Fair Park and the community while advertising their businesses and giving back. These partners include Fort Healthcare, Premier Bank, Jones Dairy Farm, Daybreak Foods, Frank Beer, Pepsi, Gallett's Grading, 104.5 WSLD Radio, Griffin, Pernat's Premium Meats, Spangler Seed Tech, and many others listed in the report, and not listed as well. We are grateful to all of these companies that give their support to the Fair Park. On the third page, we've included some statistics about our programs, and we are continuing to grow our campground with rentals and new utility upgrades. We are currently wrapping up our winter storage reservations for the winter season. We offer both indoor and outdoor storage options for campers, cars, and boats. We continue to have a great relationship with tourism partners, including the Jefferson County Area's Tourism Council, and we are still utilizing the Activity Center lobby area as the Jefferson County Visitor Center. The Jefferson County Fair will be July 10th through the 14th in 2024, and we are looking forward to growing the fair and making it better every year. Tonight, you will vote on a proposal for a County Fair Advisory Board to assist in this process. If you have any questions, please feel free to stop by our office or reach out to me. My contact information is on the last page of the report. Thank you for your time tonight.
Any questions for Amy tonight? Mr. Supervisor Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was earlier commented that there were not going to be any more national acts for music. I'm wondering if you can comment as to why or what you're going to do.
Sure. In the 2024 budget, it's proposed that there will not be national music acts at the fair on the main stage at the grandstand. So we will continue to grow and have larger acts that will fit well in our Coors Light entertainment tent and continue to brainstorm different ideas for the grandstand. Those are to be determined at this time.
Other questions? Other questions? See none? Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
I see Yvonne is back with her spectacles, so veteran service.
I offered mine, but.
Good evening. So you have a packet on your desk. I apologize that you didn't get to these fascinating details earlier, but I want to highlight the amount of VA state and federal benefits that come to Jefferson County. And you've got in this packet, I printed out a couple of GDX. They're the amounts, distribution of VA expenditures. And a couple things I'd like to point out. You can read the report and certainly ask me any questions as time goes here. But I wanted to point out that between fiscal year 2021 and 2022, you see that the total expenditures that came into Jefferson County benefited Jefferson County $47,106,000, and it jumps in 2022. I've never seen this high of a jump between the years. Jumps to $55,873, and that is in part due to the passage of the PACT Act. Do you all remember hearing about that when President Biden signed the PACT Act last August? And you wondered maybe what does that mean? We'll get to the PACT Act here in a minute, but for Jefferson County, it means almost $8 million more benefits that came in the form of additional health care resources and, by my calculations, about $5 million of additional disability compensation that came into the households of Jefferson County through basically disability claims. So the PACT Act, a lot of it's about respiratory conditions. And Ben, do you have? Don't see it. Okay. Maybe or maybe not, we'll have a very good representation of what the PACT Act is all about. The fact that we got $19,178 unexpectedly through the Wisconsin Department of Veteran Affairs, a grant that was received, we got it because our leaders in the Wisconsin County Veteran Service Association lobbied in partnership with the National Association of County Veteran Service Office directly to Congress to say, hey, we counties that are funded by county tax dollars are doing about 80% of the VA's work by preparing claims, meeting with veterans, collecting their medical records, making the cases, and yet we hardly get any federal funding. So there was a bill passed last year, and a little over $1 million, I think, came to Wisconsin. It went to the Wisconsin Department of Veteran Affairs, and it was doled out. In part, it was ARPA funds, right, that came to us, and that made it possible for us to do an outreach event. And one of the things that I included in your packet tonight was this brochure that we used a few weeks ago. We had the first time ever, so I've been doing this gig for over 16 years. This is the first time that we've ever been able to do an event of this scale. But I thought it would be nice to include this because it shows you who the participants were. So a lot of what we do is connect people with other resources. Like, we don't have the money at the county level to do all the things that we need to do to support veterans and their families. So this kind of gives you an idea of all of the agencies that we partner with to do what we do. And then on the back is a speaker schedule, and that kind of gives you an idea. I made the speaker schedule based on the kinds of questions that people ask us in our office every day. So that's just kind of a short way of saying it was a great one-day event that we did. It would not have been possible if we had not had that money from that grant. Couple other things. Yes, we are still over at the Fort Community Credit Union. I do believe we're the first ones out last Labor Day, and I do believe, will be the last ones back. to the courthouse. Our new office, if you don't know, will be where the family court commissioner is currently, and you're welcome. We have traded my fabulous view of the western sunset every day for the last 16 years, but now it's a beautiful conference room that you can see next door. We traded that for the view of the generator on the other side. So, but highest and best use, how beautiful of a transformation that is. You can just briefly, my report outlines our partnerships with the Community Action Coalition, with the Wisconsin Department of Veteran Affairs, our very important transportation program that allows us to get veterans to and from the VA hospitals. So we have VA medical centers in Madison, Milwaukee. We live in a buffet of VA healthcare. So not only the Madison and Milwaukee medical centers, but the satellite clinics that are located in Janesville, Beaver Dam, the west side of Madison, and I think by the end of next year, the clinic in Oconomowoc will be open, and one on the east side of Madison. So that's good, but it's also bad because you might as well not have any health care at all if you're a veteran who can't drive or has some disability that prevents you from getting to the health care. So we have had since 2009 a van that we lease from the VA for $2,808. The fee has never gone up in all these years, and they give us a credit card that we can use for that van to fill it with gas, do oil changes, and when it gets up to about 70,000 miles, they give us a new van. So before that was a reality, our transportation budget was doubling, $6,000, $12,000, $24,000. It's been a godsend. And then, of course, we have our Lexus vehicle that we use especially for frail people that can't, the van is like, we go pick you up at your house, but everybody goes as early as the first appointment. So you've got one at 7 o'clock in the morning and you got one at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Everybody has to stay there all day. We use the Lexus quite a bit to go to the satellite. The van goes mostly to Madison, but when we have somebody that's going to Milwaukee or one of the clinics, that's when we use the Lexus. There is a initiative on the horizon here that we want to be able to afford through a partnership with the Jefferson County Veterans Foundation to procure a wheelchair accessible van, because that's something that we have a lack of. Right now, we partner with the ADRC, and we hope that getting an additional van that's handicap accessible will not only help veterans, but when it's not in use for veterans, that it would be able to help the county. So stay tuned for that. A few other highlights. Again, $55 million in benefits coming into Jefferson County. I would like to point out that if you look at the Dodge County line versus the Jefferson County line on that report, that you will see, although they have 1,000 more veterans, we have $1 million more benefits coming into Jefferson County. So that was a thing this year when Jefferson County was covering, Dodge County was out of a service officer for, completely out of a service officer for 6 months. But over the year, like till the middle of last year, they were so understaffed that veterans were going without services. And so we did take on about 400 Dodge County veterans over this last year. We now have about 1,200 Dodge County veterans in the Jefferson County system. So any questions? I think that kind of, yes, ma'am.
I was just curious how much with the Veterans Regional Benefit Expo, how many people showed up, and are you going to be doing that again?
Yes. So we had 125 that signed in, and we think that there was another 50 or so that came. We only had a sign in at the front of the building. We think that about 50 more people came in. And just as a comparison, when we were planning this, and we did reach out to partners at the federal VA in Madison and the Wisconsin Department of Veteran Affairs, and they kept telling me to temper my enthusiasm. They said, you're not going to have as many people as you think you're going to have. We just did one in Walworth County, and they had 6 people attend. They had more vendors than they had participants, and so we were very glad. But we partnered. When this is the first time I've ever done it, but I said we're not just planning a Veterans Benefit Expo, we're planning a party, and so we partnered with the Wisconsin Bike Federation because they have a program where they encourage veterans to get outdoors, and the Bike Pilot program was something that I really wanted to introduce veterans to as a way to volunteer. It is the, did you get the photo? I got the photo. Okay. And what was the other question? You asked me how many people were there and are we going to do it again? As soon as I recover from this one, I will answer that question. It was a big job. Yes, I think we're going to do it again. So I have a photo that I want to show, and I want to talk about the PACT Act. So is anybody familiar with what the PACT Act is? It basically kicked the door open for veterans who had been diagnosed, especially with respiratory cancers. That's a thing with the Gulf War and Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. Respiratory cancers are a very significant, it's a large portion of people are getting these respiratory cancers. So what you're seeing here is the PET scan of a 20-year Air Force veteran who served in Saudi and other places in the Gulf, very, very healthy, until one day, poof, they went from being diagnosed with pneumonia to a few weeks later being told, oh, not pneumonia. Oh, by the way, it's stage 4 neuroendocrine lung cancer that's already metastasized to the spine and the liver. And oh, by the way, you have, more or less a year to live. And that's what we deal with every day. That's what we're doing as claims officers. Not always respiratory cancers, but some. There's so many illnesses. And I do have a brochure in the back that talks about all the different illnesses that have been linked to these toxic exposures. Unfortunately, that particular PET scan that you saw is my deputy veteran service officer, Jean Osman. So this has just been a tremendously difficult time for our office because Jean's been my right-hand man for almost 13 years. So he will be retiring at the beginning of the year. We're all hoping for the best, but it's a pretty devastating diagnosis. But he gave me his full permission to share his story and what he wanted to tell whoever is in this room and whoever's listening to this annual report. Don't ignore your medical symptoms. He said that a year ago he had started having some back pain, and if he had gone to the doctor, but he's an active guy, so you think, well, I just have a pulled muscle or something like that. But by the time he did go to the doctor, it was too late really to do anything about it. So I thought it was important both to tell you about how important the PACT Act is, because what the PACT Act did is it made these illnesses presumptive, meaning that a veteran does not have to come up with all the research that links these illnesses to the toxic exposures. It makes it easy. So the silver lining of this is this veteran, who happens to be my deputy, was service connected that quick for VA benefits. And his family will have benefits when he exits stage left. They'll have benefits related to the fact that his life was cut short by this toxic exposure. So any other questions? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Yvonne. Takes us to item C, planning and zoning, land information. Mr. Matt Zangle. Yeah, see you dressed up. Yeah.
Jeez. Wow. Tough crowd this morning or afternoon already. Good evening. I'm Matt Zangle, Director of Planning and Zoning Department, Land Information Office. I'll just touch on a couple of high points from the annual report. For the planning and zoning side of things, the revenues continue to stay about the same year in and year out. The number of permits seem to fluctuate, or excuse me, the number of permits stay the same, but the types of permits fluctuate. For example, the single-family homes are going down slightly, while other types of permits are increasing. Surprisingly, an increase in the number of new cell towers that we're issuing over the last couple of years, primarily due to competition within the carriers and then the broadband initiative. Right now, we have 3 approved solar farms or solar developments in the county, 1 under construction and 2 other ones starting construction, hopefully in the beginning of 2024. There's also 2 additional solar farms that we're aware of, or solar developments that we're aware of, that should be seeking approval or permitting in the beginning part of 2024. We continue to see an interest in solar development, and we continue to see that rising and project more solar farms in the coming years. In addition, there's an increase in just general solar development in general. So a lot of residential development, whether they're installing solar panels on top of their house or in their front yard. It's a large increase that we're seeing currently. In 2024, we hope to streamline our online zoning permit process with coordination with the MIS department and creating a more formal form that will then coordinate and streamline into the land record system. So it should save a lot of staff time and create some efficiencies in reviewing and issuing and storing the zoning permit. On the septic side of things, very similar. The number of permits stay consistent throughout the years. In 2023, we introduced GPS inspections on our sanitary permit inspections and soil tests. So we go out in the field with a GPS and an iPad and actually map out where the septic is. That helps, of course, streamline and create some efficiencies when we're creating the inspection reports. And then that will also form into the GIS system, so you'll be able to go online and view what we've mapped in real time and see where your septic is on your property. Also within the Planning and Zoning Department is a Clean Sweep program. For the last year, there was 2 Clean Sweep events, 3 appliance and recycling events, and 1 tire recycling events. And they're always fun events to work, as you'd be quite surprised at the number of items that people bring in and the types of items that they find in the back garage when they're cleaning out over the winter. It's always a kind of a treat. On the land information side of things, this year, one of the projects we did was a pictometry flight and an air photo flight. Pictometry is like a 3D view or rendering of the ground, so it gives you that multi-view, where the air photo is just a flat view. We're just collecting that data, or just getting that data back from the contractor, so we'll be uploading that here shortly. In addition, in 2023 and 2022, we worked on updating the GIS system, including some server reconfigurations with the MIS department. This helped create a more efficient and quicker system rather than having some of those bog downs that some people were aware of. One of the big projects we're currently working on right now is the Next Gen 911. That's converting the county's center lines and address points to a statewide and national-wide standard, which is then utilized in dispatching and emergency responses. That's a project that we're hoping to wrap up in 2024. It's been taking up a lot of time converting all that data. And finally, in coordination with the MIS department and the Treasurer's department, we worked on a municipal tax receipting program and a pet licensing program that will help the local municipalities receipt and license their pets, and we hope to, or we are going online with that in this fall. That's all I have. I thank you for all your support.
Questions for Matt? Questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Matt. Takes us to item 9, County Board Proclamation congratulating Lakeside Lutheran High School Boys Cross Country Team on their Division II State Cross Country Championship. Mr. Lund.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Proclamation number 2023-4. Whereas the Lakeside Lutheran High School Boys Cross Country Team won the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association Division II State Cross Country Championship on October 28, 2023, and whereas the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors supports achievement in athletics and extracurricular activities as well as academic achievement among the county's youth. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors assembled this 14th day of November 2023 extends its hearty congratulations to the Lakeside Lutheran High School boys cross country team, coaches, parents, staff, students, and fans for the WIAA State Cross Country Championship and wishes them success and good health in their future athletic and academic pursuits. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this proclamation.
Do I have a second? Second, Supervisor Morris. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Thank you very much. And congratulations. Committee reports, resolutions, and ordinance, Executive Committee. Mr. Winnicky.
Okay, amending supervisor district boundaries to reflect annexations, ordinance number 2023-16.
16.
Thank you. In November of 2021, the Jefferson County Board adopted resolution number 2143, which established 30 supervisory districts within the county. Wisconsin statute allows the county board to amend supervisory districts to reflect city and village incorporation, annexation, etc. A common practice is for cities and villages to assign the area being annexed to the adjacent ward within their corporate limits, and the county board to amend supervisory districts to match the new corporate limits. To date, 2 annexations have occurred since the 2022 amendment of the supervisory districts. They are Ward 1, District 15 in the town of Aztalan, which will be annexed into the city of Lake Mills, or I'm guessing has been annexed. That affects a population of 4. And Ward 2, District 11 in the town of Concord, which is annexed by the village of Sullivan, which at this time does not reflect any population change. This ordinance shall be effective after passage and publication as provided by law, and the passage of this ordinance has no immediate fiscal impact. Mr. Chair, I move approval of ordinance 2023-16.
Second by Supervisor Morris. Questions? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the ordinance passes. Takes us to Finance Committee. Supervisor Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the non-countywide levy budget, the countywide levy budget, and the functional totals as stated in the 2024 recommended budget be adopted. I need a second for this motion, but there'll be no vote until we discuss amendments.
Second.
There's no vote.
The second, I believe it sounded like Blaine. Yes, it was. Supervisor Paulson was the second. All in favor in proceeding, say aye. 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 Opposed? Hearing none? Oh,
There's no vote.
oh, just, I thought I was to bring it off the table.
Right. I am pleased to announce that there are no amendments handed in to the administration or the finance committee. Mr. Chair, would you ask if there, at this time, are there any amendments from the floor?
Is there any amendments from the floor? Any amendments from the floor? Going a third time. Any amendments from the floor? Seeing none, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. I move to divide the question on the countywide and non-countywide levy budgets. Once again, I need a second.
Second by Supervisor Brogler.
And now we'll need a roll call vote to divide the question.
Roll call vote to divide the question. Do you? We okay? Ready to roll? Okay.
Supervisor Herbst? Supervisor Richardson?
Aye.
We have 27 yes and 0 no.
So it is divided.
Thank you. Resolution number 2023-17, establishing non-countywide levies for health and library services. Whereas the non-county, it's the purple sheet on your desk. There was a typo on the one that was in your packet, just a date error. Whereas the non-countywide budget for 2024 containing total department appropriations and levies is apportioned to the municipalities benefiting from the service furnished, and now therefore be resolved that the sums listed below be levied upon all property in Jefferson County that is taxable for the purpose listed. Health Department, $938,368. Library Services, $1,191,880. Be it further resolved that the above amounts be apportioned to equalized values as established by the State Department of Revenue. Fiscal note, the health mill rate is $0.0992 and the library mill rate is $0.2192 per $1,000 of equalized value. In 2023, the health mill rate was $0.1063 and the library mill rate was $0.2404 for decreases of $0.0071 and $0.0212 in the health and library mill rates respectively. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Second by Supervisor Jekyll. Questions? Discussion? Do a roll call.
Supervisor Richardson?
I think that was a yes.
Yes. Supervisor Herbst? Oh, the resolution number was actually 46. So we have 26 yes, 1 no, and 2 absent.
All right. Thank you. And
Thank you.
the next resolution, 47.
Before I read the next resolution, I would just like to say the 2024 budget was a very difficult budget, but also a very positive budget, not only for 2024, but for the future. We met the needs of our constituents as demands increase for services we provide. The budget allows for salary and COLA increases, which rewards our hardworking employees and helps with the retention and hiring. The budget is based on Jefferson County strategic and comprehensive plans. We accomplished all this while fixed costs continue to rise. I would also like to add that we lowered the mill rate again this year. I would like to thank County Administrator Ben Waymeyer, CFO Mark DeRise, and their staffs, department heads for their cooperation, and my fellow Finance Committee members for all their hard work. Resolution number 2023-47, establishing countywide levy and fees. Whereas the proposed 2024 county budget was submitted to the board by the county administrator on October 10th, 2023, and whereas the proposed 2024 county budget was the subject of a public hearing on October 24, 2023, and whereas the board has considered all amendments, I suppose the record should say that there were none, which is great. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the authorized positions, the total appropriation for each governmental function is shown below, fund balance application and assignments in the recommended budget book, and the levy contained in the countywide portion of the 2024 budget be levied as a county tax to be raised on the 2023 tax roll as follows. You can see how it's laid out there, and it's, I think, pretty self-explanatory. Be it further resolved that the above amount be apportioned according to equalized values established by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. And be it further resolved that the fee schedule for various license permits and services used to establish revenues amounts in the budget are hereby approved. Fiscal note. As presented, the countywide levy is a proposal of $33,285,195, which is a mill rate of $2.6453 for general operations and $0.4169 for debt services fund for a total of $3.0621 per $1,000 of taxable value. In 2023, the countywide levy was $33,762,184 with a general operation mill rate of $2.64 $0.8939 and the debt service mill rate of $0.5477 for a decrease of $0.2486 per $1,000 of taxable value for 2024 general operations and a decrease of $0.1308 per $1,000 per taxable value for 2024 debt service. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Jones, second by Supervisor Jekyll. Questions, discussions? Seeing none, a roll call vote on this resolution.
Supervisor Richardson? Supervisor Herbst? We have 26 yes, 1 no, and 2 absent.
Thank you. The resolution passes. Takes resolution number 48, authorizing the rezoning of county-owned land that's known as the Old Highway Shop. Supervisor Jones.
Approving environmental, well, wait, is that the one we're on?
Rezoning county-owned lands known as the Old Highway Shop.
My
Page
error,
11 in
excuse
your-
me. All right. Resolution number 2023-48, is that correct?
Yes.
Authorizing rezoning of county-owned lands known as the Old Highway Shop. Jefferson County is the owner of approximately 19 acres of land, which is located within the municipal boundaries of the city of Jefferson. This vacant property was previously used by Jefferson County as the highway shop. In Resolution 2018-03, the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors previously authorized the rezoning of a portion of this property from institutional to urban mixed use as part of an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Jefferson. Recently, it was discovered that 1.12 acre parcel land, parcel number 241-0614-0231-015, within the Old Highway Shop property and located adjacent to the rezoned land, is still zoned as institutional. This resolution authorizes the county government administrator to rezone the above referenced parcel to urban mixed use, which is consistent with the remainder of the Old Highway Shop property. The Finance Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on November 8, 2023, and recommended for the county board for approval. Fiscal note, the application fee for request for a zoning map amendment is $500. This will be paid for from the proceeds of prior land sales which reside in the capital project funds. No budget adjustment is necessary. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Jones, second by Supervisor Jekyll. Questions? Supervisor Gulick?
Yes, I have a question regarding the fiscal note. Which prior land sales would the $500 come from?
There's no specific prior land sales, it's just an accumulation of land sales that have gone into capital project fund. There's no specific land sale that would kick in this.
Yes, a follow-up question?
Follow-up question. Would that revenue come, could it be possible that that revenue came from the land sales from the part of the county farm here? The 17 whatever acres it was that we sold to Purina a year and a half or so ago? Because if that's the case, my concern about this is a fair reading of the rules of the Finance Committee suggests that revenue from that land sale should go into preservation of farmland. And here we're using it to rezone, using it for the application or the rezoning map for this project. So I guess the question is it possible that that money, insofar as it's commingled? My understanding is that in conversations with the county executive was that the revenues from the farm sales were not to be commingled with other funds in our capital projects budget.
Dancing a lot of different questions here. That's not my understanding.
Mark, could you use a mic?
Thank you, Supervisor Gulick. That is not my understanding. We have not segregated those funds. They've always been commingled ever since I've started this position.
So the intention to follow up was those were put in an account so they didn't get pulled into the operations account. so it wouldn't be pulled into the carryover process. So the policy discussion, as called out in the board rules, which say the finance committee will make a recommendation to the county board how to use the proceeds from farm sales could take place, and that has not fully taken place yet.
Other questions? Other questions from the floor? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
The resolution passes. Okay. Resolution 49, approving environmental health fee schedule for the Jefferson County Health Department.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Jones.
Jefferson County Health Department partners with the Watertown Department of Public Health to provide environmental health services in Jefferson County through the Jefferson County Environment and Public Health Consortium. The consortium is amending the fee schedule for establishing licenses under Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, DAVCAP agent contracts. In June, DAVCAP and the state of Wisconsin passed updated regulatory codes for recreation and educational camps, ATCP 78, and safety maintenance operation of public pools and water attractions, ATCP 76. The regulatory code changes include updating the license tiers to include multiple license types based on the complexity levels and setting revised fees accordingly. The attached proposed amendment fee schedule updates the county fees to align with Wisconsin codes and includes the 12% reimbursement fee for license fees the county is contractually obligated to pay DAVCAP annually. This resolution authorized an amendment to the Health Department fee schedule in the 2023 Jefferson County budget. The Board of Health considered this resolution at its meeting on October 18, 2023, and recommended forward to the Finance Committee and County Board for approval. The Finance Committee has considered this resolution at its meeting on November 7, 2023, and recommended forward to the County Board for approval. Fiscal note, revenues relating to the fee increases proposed in this resolution are currently budgeted for the 2023 and 2024 Health Department budget. At this time, the Finance Committee does not recommend increasing budgeted revenue and expense until a historical analysis of the impact of these fees increase can be performed. Therefore, no budget adjustment is necessary at this time. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Jones, second by Supervisor Trivial Heights. Questions? Discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Supervisor Richardson,
Aye.
And I got it.
Supervisor Herbst, we have 27 yes, 0 no, and 2 absent.
Takes us to resolution, I believe, number 50, authorizing denying claims for damages by Russell Erkey. Supervisor Jones.
A claim has been made against Jefferson County for damages. The claim has been reviewed by the county's insurance carrier, WMIC, and it was recommended for disallowance based on the finding that the county has no liability for this claim and is not legally responsible for the alleged damages. This resolution formally denies the claim filed against Jefferson County and directs the Corporation Council to give the claimant notice of disallowance. The Finance Committee considered this resolution on November 8, 2023, and recommended forwarding to the County Board for approval. Fiscal note, this matter has been referred to the Wisconsin Municipal and Mutual Insurance Company, WMIC, and will be resolved in accordance with the terms of the county policy. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Second by Supervisor Jaco, moved by Supervisor Jones. Questions? Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. Item 12, Human Services Board, resolution authorizing state human services contracts, consortium agreements, and professional service and care provider contracts. Supervisor Jones.
Resolution number 2023-51, sorry. Thank you. The Jefferson County Human Service Department contracts with state agencies, consortiums, and its access of 100 professional service and care providers to fulfill its statutory duties. Each year, contracts are renewed and or updated with additional providers. State law requires county board approval of the state contracts set forth in this resolution. The contracts have not been reproduced and attached to this resolution because they total more than 100 pages. The Wisconsin County Human Service Association negotiates the basic agreement on behalf of counties, which are standard state forms that are not subject to negotiation by individual counties. The professional service and care providers contract list for 2024 is attached. These provider contracts are reviewed by the Jefferson County Corporation Council to ensure compliance with the county purchasing ordinance and contain the language and terms set forth by the State of Wisconsin Department of Health Services Purchase of Care Service Guides in Section 46.036 of the Wisconsin statutes. The Human Service Board considered this resolution October 10th, 2023, meeting and recommending forwarding to the county board to approve entering into professional service and care provider contracts with the providers on the attached list and entering into state contracts and consortium agreements as set forth below for 2024. Fiscal note, the costs associated with the state and consortium contracts have been included as an appropriation in the 2024 budget. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Jones, second. Do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Coots. Discussion? Questions? Seeing none? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none? Passed. You can have a drink of water now, Supervisor Jones.
Thank you. I'll be back later.
Takes us to item 13, Land and Water Conservation Committee, resolution authorizing extension of county farm agricultural lease for 1 year. Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have resolution number 2023-52, authorizing extension of county farm agricultural lease for 1 year. Jefferson County owns farmland consisting of approximately 328 acres. As changes may occur in the next year and could change the total number of acres available for farming, it would be prudent to extend the current lease for 1 year instead of putting it out to bid for 3 years. The current lease ends on February 28, 2024, and has a rental rate of $290.25 per acre. The Land and Water Conservation Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on October 18, 2023, and recommended forwarding to the county board for approval. Fiscal note. Total rent payable to Jefferson County for the 1 year lease term is $95,202, subject to prorated changes to acreage. This amount is contained in the 2024 general revenue and expenditure budget. Mr. Chairman, I move for adoption of this resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Christensen, second by Supervisor Turtle Heights. Questions? Discussion? Supervisor Paulson.
Yeah, I would propose an amendment where it says the county farm. I would like it to say the property formerly known as the county farm is currently leased by Jeff and Monica Gerner.
Is there a second to that? I'll second it. Second by Mr. Jekyll. Questions, discussion? Supervisor Christensen.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear the last part that Blaine said, that it was, could you restate that, please?
Certainly. I would like it to be known as the property formerly known as the county farm.
Okay. Supervisor Martin.
I guess I have a question. When did we change the name of the county farm? Thank you.
I do not know. I believe that's just always been a vernacular. No. As far as Supervisor Paulson.
Well, my point being that it's no longer a county farm. It's property that we own that's located in the city of Jefferson that's currently being used as farming, for farming as opposed to farmland.
Okay. Anything else? Any other question, discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. Takes us to, again, to the original resolution as amended. For a discussion on the original resolution. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Takes us to ordinance number 2023-17. Creating a fair, ordinance creating a fair advisory board. Supervisor Paulson.
The Jefferson County Fair has been a proud tradition, local tradition since 1852. The county fair provides an opportunity for residents to exhibit their accomplishments and promotes education, entertainment, and economic growth in Jefferson County. The Jefferson County Fair Park Committee held an open forum on October 23rd, 2023, to review the 2023 Jefferson County Fair. The open forum was well attended by community stakeholders. Several members of the community offered critiques and suggestions for improvements to the county fair. Additionally, community members expressed the desire to assist in fair planning. Based upon feedback received at the recent open forum, the Fair Park Committee believes it would be beneficial to form a fair advisory board to provide a structured way for community stakeholders to share their opinions and perspectives. The Fair Advisory Board will create a line of communication between the public and the local officials to provide the county with a broad range of ideas when developing and implementing policies and programs for the county fair. The Fair Advisory Board will serve solely in an advisory capacity. The Fair Park Committee will consider the recommendation of the Fair Advisory Board when exercising its decision-making authority. This ordinance creates a citizen advisory board to assist the Fair Park Committee in planning, development, and execution of the annual Jefferson County Fair. The Fair Park Committee considered this ordinance at its meeting on November 9th, 2023, and recommended forwarding it to the county board for approval. Fiscal note. I'll get there. As stated in section 1.0314 of this ordinance, the members of this committee shall not be eligible for meeting fee, mileage, or other expense reimbursements. As such, passage of this ordinance has no immediate fiscal impact. Mr. Chairman, I move for the adoption of this ordinance.
Moved by Supervisor Paulson, second by Supervisor Backlund. Yeah. Questions? Discussion? Supervisor Brogler.
I am all in favor of advisory boards, but I'm a tad concerned about this one in light of recent events. And I do know that this is stock legalese language. I mean, that's obvious as you read through it. But under the membership, it says a reasonable effort shall be made to appoint board members who represent a cross-section of local stakeholders, including but not limited to individuals with backgrounds in agriculture, tourism, and event planning, fundraising, local business owners, and those affiliated with local youth organizations. And I trust there will be a judicious effort to make sure that all of the people represented don't come in with a plan or agenda, that we truly do get a cross-section so they can be, as mentioned in the earlier section, when offering critiques and suggestions for improvement.
Any other questions? Supervisor Gulick.
Yes, thank you. I think this is the third instance where there's been reference to events or previous events or problematic events at the county fair. Is there any possibility that those could be chronicled or identified or enumerated in some way, that they're not just referred to in some kind of unclear way?
Supervisor Paulson, do you have any?
No.
Mr. Waymire.
I think one of the big ones is just I'll call it the business model that was talked about, and really looking at what could be afforded within our structure, within the market conditions, and hence part of the reasons we made some of the recommendation in the budget for next year, including how we classify certain positions, including the entertainment that would take place at the county fair, how that interacts with maybe other side shows like more kids stages potentially as an example. Some of those things are reflective of what some of the folks had come to the committee with and board members was saying, this is some of the changes we think is more representative of the county fair, or what we'd like to see. Some focus really about some of the auction and agriculture, making sure that's part of that process. It's always been there, but the reemphasis of that and things going forward. So some of it was just some concerns that came forward, the rulemaking of how some of the fair rules were done. Part of this was because for a long time, 4-H was part of that process. They changed their mission of how they interact with the fair. And so that's when some of the things, like example, that animal auction, we had to take that on for it to happen. And so some of this is just reflective of those comments coming back as well, plus the business operation of the fair.
Other questions, discussion? Supervisor Martin.
Thank you. To address the comment about enumerating the discussion, it is important to note that the minutes basically said community members provided input, and 20 people spoke. So the resolution says several. I'm not sure several is 20. And I have offered, I was taking notes, and I do think a summary, not maybe specifically exactly who said what, but a summary of some basic points would seem prudent for future purposes as well as for documentation. So I have offered to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, resolution passes. Planning and Zoning Committee, Supervisor Jekyll, report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Report to the honorable members of Jefferson County Board of Supervisors. Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee, having considered petitions to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County, filed for public hearing held on October 19th, 2023, as required by law pursuant to Wisconsin statutes. Notice thereof having been given and being duly advised of the wishes of the town boards and persons in the affected areas, hereby makes the following recommendations. Approval of petitions as listed, dated this 13th day of October 2023, Blaine Paulson, Secretary. I say that 30th day, I'm sorry. Moving on then to ordinance number 2023-18. Amending the official zoning map of Jefferson County, whereas Jefferson County Board of Supervisors has heretofore been petitioned to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County, and whereas petitions as listed were referred to Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee for public hearing on October 19, 2023, and whereas proposed amendments have been given due consideration by the Board of Supervisors in open session. Now therefore be it ordained that Jefferson County Board of Supervisors does amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County as listed. I move to adopt this ordinance.
Second by Supervisor Paulson, moved by Supervisor Jekyll. Any questions, discussion on this ordinance? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the ordinance passes. Is there any public comment of a general nature? Yeah, but it comes after the closed session. Seeing no public comment, any announcements? Mr. Waymire.
So just a couple things as a reminder, the exec committee is going to be looking at rules. So if you have ideas of board rules you'd like to see change, we are asking those, try to get to either myself, the corporation counsel, the chair of the committee, or other board members. So those could be talked about at the upcoming meeting, not next Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the Wednesday after. We are working on reestablishing county board mailboxes right now. The space we had traditionally used as we work with court operations in this room, it might be a challenge to put them where they were. So we will find a spot, most like an admin or in the clerk's office, but we'll let you all know once that's finalized. But we'll continue to do is deliver mail to committee meetings or this boardroom meeting if things do come in for y'all. So just so you know, you're aware of that. The other thing that was handed out by our Human Services Director is a blue folder. The staff has been working on a toolkit really related to some of the drug issues that go on, specifically related to opioids, et cetera, and some resources that are available. So if you look in here, there's a lot of the resources, definitions of some of the drugs that our teams are working on, QR codes in terms of how to get help, which is probably the biggest thing that we would like help with in terms of getting out to our community folks so they know where they can turn to for help. So take a look at this. There's going to be more a promotion of what this is to ensure folks are getting the resources they need as they kind of work through these situations ahead of them. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there any other announcements from the floor? Any other announcements? Seeing none, I will move to convene in closed session pursuant to Section 19.85, Parent 1E, Wisconsin statutes, deliberating and negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whatever competitive or bargaining reasons are required in the closed session for purpose of discussion on the development and sale of county-owned farmland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Jones. We need a roll call vote to go into closed session.
Supervisor Richardson,
Richardson.
I heard why.
Supervisor Herbst, we have 27 yes and 2 absent.
We are in closed session. Could Sheriff, could you shut the door when you go out? Thank you very much.